Hello and welcome to Washington Unplugged. I'm Bob Orr. Of course, most political eyes are on the potential changing landscape for the U.S. Senate in 2010. But the fact is there are also 37 governors who are prepping for some tough races, and Republicans say they're counting for a big comeback. We're joined now by the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association, Delaware Governor Jack Markell. Governor, thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
So what is the political landscape? I mean, let's just say what's happened here. Virginia went to the Republicans. New Jersey went to the Republicans. Why shouldn't the Republicans be confident?
Well, we've got great candidates, great incumbents. We actually think that the governor's races could be a bright spot for the Democratic Party. It is a challenging landscape, but if you look at it on a state-by-state basis, which is what you have to do in these races, we've got opportunities in California, in Florida, in Texas, in Arizona, Nevada, New England, many states, Minnesota, Georgia. So we actually think we've got some good shots.
In the balance of power, there are a few more Democrats than Republican governors. Do you see a chance to hold that kind of edge, or do you think it could flip?
Well, it's a challenging landscape. It always is in the first off-year election after a president's election. That being said, these races get decided by voters who are focused on electing chief executives who are going to put people to work. We've got some great candidates, and honestly, to a large degree, some of the folks on the other side just want to return to the policies of the past.
Now, the national scope is all about the economy, and governors' races many times come down to local issues, but does the economy still trump the rest of the issues?
Absolutely. It's the national economy, it's the local economy. So what governors have to do and what candidates have to do is demonstrate how they're going to put people back to work in their states. That's exactly what we're focused on in Delaware. It's about jobs, it's about fiscal responsibility, it's about great schools. And that's really true across the country, but it really comes down to jobs in the economy.
Let me ask you about job creation. I mean, we know about the first federal stimulus plan, and others talk of another. And the administration says that they think they've created something like 2 million jobs and have saved others from being lost. What's really happening, though, in the real world in your state? What are you seeing?
We're putting real people back to work, and that's the thing. Sometimes the stimulus package wasn't all that popular, but as the people have been put back to work, and it's a different story. The great thing about being from a state like Delaware is you get to meet the real people. This is not just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are real people. I've met them. And they've talked to me about the longest conversation, the longest walk they've ever had to take was to go tell their spouse and their kids that they were out of work. But then when they get back to work, it's a whole different story. And so it's about real people, putting real people back to work.
What are you telling the people in Delaware about when we might turn the corner? When you came into office, I think you had a pretty good-sized deficit. I know that you took a pay cut. When does this turn? When do good times come back?
You know, I don't know. We're not immune, and no state's immune from what's going on in the national economy. But what that means is we've got to redouble our efforts every day. And in Delaware, it's about putting people back to work today. It's about putting into place the policies that are going to, when we get past this really tough period, make sure that Delaware can outperform other places. It's what we have to do as a country. So the best information I get is not from economists, it's not from the stock market, it's from talking to real business people in Delaware. We're not there yet. But thanks to the Obama administration, the Obama-Biden administration, we have stepped back from the abyss, and now we've got to get to work really bringing the unemployment rate down, putting more people back to work.
Can you tell people that it's getting better at least?
It's getting, it's so long as we have people unemployed, it's not getting better for them. And so for us, this is not something you talk about in the abstract. We've got to fight every single day for every job we've got, and we've got to fight every single day to create new jobs. So as long as we've got people not working who want to be working, it's not getting better. For those who are back, of course it's getting better, but we can't think that way. We've got to think about this literally one worker at a time. How do we get them back to work?
And of course, now let's talk about the U.S. Senate. There was a political bombshell in Massachusetts when the seat of Senator Kennedy went to a Republican. Almost an unthinkable thing happened there. First of all, what do you think happened there?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure he really just campaigned and used the word Republican all that often. I mean, people are frustrated, and there's no question that people want to get back to work. They want us to restore prosperity. I think it's a wake-up call to everybody. This is going to be a tough year for incumbents of both parties. That's why what we have got to do, and it's different when you're running for governor. You've got to be. It's about pragmatism. It literally is about what is this candidate, what's this incumbent going to do that's going to affect me, that's going to put me or my family back to work, and that's really the message.
There's an open seat, of course, in Delaware. Vice President Biden's seat is up. His son Beau is not going to run. There's a formidable Republican opponent in Governor Castle.
Right.
What happens there? Is that another turnover seat for the Democrats?
We don't think so. Congressman Castle is certainly well respected. He's served Delaware for many years. He's a good, very good person. We've got a great candidate of our own, a guy named Chris Coons. He is the Newcastle County Executive. Very talented, very articulate, well known certainly in Newcastle County. He's going to prove himself, and we think he can do well. And
finally, big blizzard coming our way. Looks like Delaware is right there near the bullseye. 18 inches of snow, that's what you're being
Somewhere
told?
12, 24, it's a big number.
Okay, what are you doing there to prepare?
Well, we've got hundreds of very dedicated state workers who are out already salting the roads, ready to plow. It's something that we monitor very carefully. It's tough for our businesses, and this is not the first time that it's occurred on a weekend when many of our restaurants and other businesses count on people being able to get out and about and shop. But we've got to make sure that the roads stay clear, that our emergency vehicles can get down, and so that people can get where they need to get.
It's a big economic hit again, too, right?
It's a huge economic hit in terms of revenues lost. It's also a big economic hit because it's very expensive to plow.
All right, Governor Jack Markell from Delaware, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with the snowstorm.
Thank you.
Also this morning, we have an Unplugged Under 40 on a young man who keeps Harry Reid and the Senate Democrats precisely on message. Here's Kaylee Hartung.
Want a tough assignment? Try interviewing the guy whose job is to stay on message.
No, it is the frustration. I mean,
he said it. You're the message man, right?
I try to be. I don't know. How am I doing?
Rodell Molyneux is in charge of keeping Senate Democrats on message. As the staff director of the Senate Democratic Communications Center, the War Room, he keeps a tight schedule and sticks to a tight script.
To passing health care this year. I think with the president highlighting, we are focusing more on the economy, amplification of that message. So what the message is, how we're going to get it out, what means we're going to use to get them out.
Even as Senate Democrats get pounded on health care and the economy,
what the big problem is
Rodell still enjoys his job.
And I think very fortunate, when you have someone who, such as President Obama, that knows what he wants to say, knows what he wants to get across, has a clear and concise message, it's that much easier to help amplify that message. We're happy that the president has taken this up, though, as one of his...
And no wonder. Rodell started this job when a Republican was in the White House. You began your job during the Bush administration. Is it tougher working with the White House or tougher working against them?
Oh, no, it is. I will say it is definitely better working with the White House than working against the White House.
There should be no doubt.
Last week's State of the Union is a perfect example.
The difference between having your president give the State of the Union versus the opposing party's president give, I mean, it's night and day. When your president and someone as gifted as President Obama gives the State of the Union, you can breathe a sigh of relief. You've got, we still, don't get me wrong, we didn't leave at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We were still working, but didn't have to do nearly as much work.
The long days of strategizing, constant contact with his party's top leaders. It's the dream of every aspiring politician. But Rodell is candid. It was never really his dream in the beginning.
I really wanted to be a journalist. My goal in life going into college was that one day I wanted to be a columnist for the Washington Post or the New York Times, and I don't know, maybe one day. But
not too late.
I started,
You're
yeah. I started.
So at age 33, where does this former college student body president go from here?
My personal political career peaked at like age 21. I don't think it's really going anywhere from, at one point in time, actually, I wanted to, run for Congress or something like that. No, not
Just
really.
Happy being a part of the process.
Yeah, maybe I'll run for school board if I have kids.
Yeah. He's certainly got the politician's answer for keeping your options open down pat. But why are we surprised? He is the message man. For CBSNews.com, I'm Kaylee Hartung.
Thanks, Kaylee. And the long-awaited snowstorm, or maybe not long-awaited, but here it is. It started to snow along the mid-Atlantic states. There's a shot of the White House. And the snow, they tell us, will pile up from anywhere from 1 to 2 feet in an area from Washington up through Maryland, Delaware, and into Pennsylvania. So good luck with that. Keep an eye on your local CBS station tonight for all of the latest weather information. We'll have more on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric. And for now, thanks for watching Washington Unplugged. Don't forget to watch Bob Schieffer on the TV side this weekend from Miami, where he's hosting Face the Nation at the Super Bowl. Have a great day.